Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. I have a few minutes ago finished a video, and while I did say it was going to be a short one, it turned out not to be. And I thought I'd created enough of the information necessary to convey my ideas, and that was regarding the use of how we set up our software settings and their use, and how sometimes it can throw up a glitch that we are unaware of. That said glitch, if not countered, can create issues. And then when I was making my second cup of tea, I was thinking, hang on a minute, I know of another way of creating an error accidentally. I better go check that. And I thought, well, I might as well make a video about it at the same time, which I'm doing now. In the previous video, I went up to the Window tab, drop down box, the model info, and specifically where I was looking at the units and the settings therein. This is my default settings because it has proved to be the one that I'm able to use the easiest and produce the results I require. Others may have different settings and preferences. I don't know what your requirements are, so I don't know what your preferences need to be. But regardless of the settings, I was able to create an error in accuracy, and it only gets shown up when you change the precision setting. Now, precision and accurate, or the two aren't the same, although we generally will use them as if they are, but I'm leaving that one alone because it gets a little bit muddy. However, because I generated the error, I thought, oh well, now that I'm aware of it, I can counter it. And I thought, oh no, we can't. We may well not. So, rather than talking in vague terms, let me create a box that is, let's say, 100 by 100 square. I will generally type in those measurements, as most people probably do. In the bottom right hand corner, you'll see them represented. Hit enter and I get my box. I know that is 100. There is no doubt that it is 100. Drawing it and just pulling it out, the corners out, you may introduce the very error that I did actually wind up showing in the previous video. Great stuff. Now, I've drawn it accurately. In fact, to prove the point, I up the precision to show fractions of a millimeter, and I don't have a fraction or a decimal additional decimal point out here at all. So 100%, yippee, it is accurate. Now, if I get that and I scale it and I drag it out to there, I've got 136. Great stuff. 136, fantastic. That was the size I wanted. No problem. Let's try that again. I haven't introduced the error. Maybe it does. Oh. Can you see what's happening to that? The decimal points? As I'm scaling it, I can look down in the bottom right hand corner, and it's saying it's scaling at 1.4%, or 140%, but look what it's doing to the decimal points. Now, if I have my default setting, which this is, set, this will look like it's 190 millimeters square. And I will now proceed to use that as if it is 190 millimeters. But when I up the precision, I can see that's almost half a millimeter different. And scaling will do that. And how often do you use a base model of something and then you scale it to suit your current requirements? Obviously we do. But if it's a certain, like we did there, 140%, but we wind up with this errant fraction of a millimetre, we won't know. So that when we go to use this in the next drawing, if I draw another rectangle, 190 by 190, and type those measurements in, I will think that those two rectangles, two squares, are identical. Now I'm going to put the measurements on this second one, and I will act confidently as if they were the same. But now that I know there's a difference, if I try and move this to that point there, I will think that they are identical. Well, they are there. Sorry, the point in space in the drawing is identical. And so to here, until we start... Whoa, hang on. Sorry for that zoom. You could start within quick order seeing that something doesn't quite align. But you would have been using this box as if it's 190 millimeters, and you wonder constantly why you're getting an error or it's problematic. And that's the reason. It is 0.4 of a millimeter. God, that's annoying for me to have just realized after 8 years of using SketchUp that could well be part of the issues when we have issues. And it's because something's been scaled. It may well have been a model that you have brought into your project that also has been scaled with an error built in. But unaware of it, you proceed to use it in a manner that is unobserved, unknown. And I often will do something within my model and the darn thing won't snap properly. It kind of like jumps around. I reckon it's that. Now, it's an opinion. I think it's a good opinion. But you imagine now, if I wanted to scale this for... Don't ask me why I'd do this. Please don't do that. And I wanted it to be 190.038 millimeters. 190.238. What did I type in? I wasn't even looking. Doesn't matter. Oh, it's the scaling. Don't worry about that. So I move this, and somewhere in my drawing, when I am looking at the precision that's set lower, I'll think this is 190 millimeters by 190. We already know that this is the 0.4 of a mil longer, and this is not 0.4 of a mil longer. But in our drawing, because we have our default settings for our own personal use at that, we measure it and go, yep, sweet, I can use it, it's 190 millimeters, exactly what I wanted, and then I proceed to use it, and it's not. I then align it like that, because those 2 points will be perfect, but that is not. I quite often get that, and I'm thinking that this is the reason, is that scaling it introduces a very strong chance of inaccuracies. And if you've got the chance to type in a measurement, it really would pay dividends. If I wanted now, this, I know I'm belabouring the point, it was going to be a very short video. It's now already 10 minutes, almost. I up the precision. I normally only go to 3 decimal places if I'm going to do it at all. I know this. I want it to be 190 millimeters. I can type it in and I get my exact same measurement as I require, as if I was matching it. This one, I see, oh, that one's out. I can do the same. I can scale it and get it exactly right. Now, as I say, for those that's old hat and you've been doing it for some time, well done you. For those like me who have been using SketchUp for quite some time and this was a revelation, well, isn't it better to know this than to carry on in innocence, ignorance, and wonder why the heck we're having the problems that we're having. But I never work in fractions of millimeters. But I might do a little bit more of that in the future, I've got to say. Okay, that's it. Onwards and upwards. I better get outside and do some work. Okay, we'll see you in the next one now. Bye.